Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Blonde, and welcome to a brand new series. This little series that I'm going to be doing is 7 Means of Achieving Depth. Now, the first mean of achieving depth that we're going to be covering is perspective lines. Now, this is a rather simple one, and it gets more complicated if you keep adding more and more lines, or more dots, and I'll explain why later. And basically, this is a really simple way to draw simple objects. So if you want to draw a cube, a rectangular prism, a cylinder, a pyramid, this is a very easy way to be able to do that and to have depth in your image. It can also work if you're drawing things like houses or a city block or just a street. This is a very useful thing. So what you want to do is you want to just first start out with your dot. Now, you're going to want to decide on what kind of a shape you're wanting to draw. So I'm going to start by drawing a cube, and here's how we're going to do it. We're going to draw our square, because all the faces on our cube is going to be a square. Well, it's not really much of a square, but rectangular prism, you get the point. And we're going to look for the 3 lines that we want to draw from this. It doesn't have to be 3, it can be 2, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to choose these 3 corners, and there's a reason, and I'll show you in a sec. So if we draw all of these dots back to the main original dot, have them intersect with one another, then it is going to start adding a little bit of depth. Now, here's why I didn't use this corner up here. The reason is because if you draw something from there, yes, it will have an effect, but in the end, you're just going to be erasing most of the line anyways, and it's just going to all be behind the square. So for this particular position of this shape, you don't need to put in that line. So, now, what we're going to be doing with this kind of rectangle is we're going to find out how long we want our rectangle to be. And I think I want it to come up to here. So just draw a straight vertical line here and a horizontal line here. Now, it doesn't have to be horizontal and vertical. It just depends on what you used for these lines, because those lines are the same as these lines. It's just a little bit farther away. And then just bold everything to make your shape independent from your perspective lines. And now you have a relatively 3D shape. And this can be done with a lot of other shapes. For example, you can do it with a cylinder. So there's your circle that you want to start out with, and you're going to want to start with the outermost edges of this circle, and then draw them back to the line, and then I'm going to make it this long. Just want to draw another circle there. Bold your lines, really quite easy to do. Then just go in, quickly maybe erase a little bit. If you erase too much, just put the line back, and there you go. There's your cylinder, and it's looking a bit more 3-dimensional. So that's one way of doing it, just the single point, and then you make shapes go off of it. But it does get a little bit more complicated as you move forward and you start to use multiple dots. So, just to show this, we have our 2 dots. We are going to try to make a cube. So, for this, we are just going to be using a cube that's more diagonal towards us. So instead of just having a square facing us, we are going to have that line facing us. That's one of its corners. And so we'll draw our 2 points and connect them to these dots that we have. And these dots, just to mention this, they're going to be along the horizon. So there we go. Now again, we have to decide how long we're going to make it, and I'm going to make it this long. And so notice that this line is longer than the other 2 lines, because these are going to be further away from where we're viewing. From our perspective, they should be further away. Now, here's kind of where it gets tricky, because you might think, well, this is close. This part here is closer, so it should be going to the close dot. That is not correct. actually, when looking at it from the bottom and also from the top, which we'll cover in a sec, it's going to be the far one. So you're going to be connecting it from the far dot. And so what this does, since this is the horizon line, we're going to be able to see this from the bottom, judged by the specific rotation of the object. Now, just do what we did with all the other ones and just bold it. And now you've got your cube, and you've given it depth. Again, we're going to do another one down here just to show that it works both looking up at an object and looking down. So again, we'll draw our lines, decide how far away we want it, draw the lines going opposite, then just go in and bold everything. You don't need to bold everything, I just find that it makes the object stand out a lot more, and I personally like that. So there we go, there's our cube. And so, just as you can see, this can be really, really useful if you want to achieve depth in an image. Imagine that this was an entire building, and that we had it just coming straight up and down throughout this whole thing, and say that we wanted the building to be this long. It would be very, very easy just to quickly sketch up a building, and then it would look realistic because of the depth. If we're having two lines, maybe this is the end of one street and this is the end of another street, and so this is a really, really easy way of making depth in your image. So yeah, that is the first way of achieving depth. I hope that you learned something in this video. Comment if you want me to cover any other tutorials. Like if you like this series, or if it's been helpful. I would really appreciate to hear back from you guys. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and we will see you in the next tutorial.